Today I want to welcome you to this event that I wanted to call a welcoming / a farewell party, but Helen said, don't do that. I don't want all the pressure. It's just a conversation that we have. And it's a conversation which is called a Nordic conversation, 8 years of insight, 8 days of first impressions. I will have to name the reason why it's 8, right? I mean, we cannot avoid it. Before I do that, I'm just gonna welcome you again and say that we will have a 40-minute long conversation. It will be me interviewing the two speakers who I know that you know, but I will introduce them in just 1 second. At least you know one of them for sure. The other one you will be dealing with a lot in the next years, so I will introduce you to him. But before I do that, I just want to say that it will be a 40-minute long conversation, at the end of which you will be very welcome to ask your questions. If you have any, make your comments, be friendly about something. So there will be a chance to interact, and then we will have a small reception, which kind of started now. So let's enjoy it all together. 8 years of insight, 8 days of first impressions. And with us is the current, still, director of the Nordic Council of Ministers office in Lithuania, Helen Nilsson, and we will welcome her to this conversation with a big round of applause, please. Thank you. We've also got someone else who will be continuing her work, or in other words, will be the new director of the Nordic Council of Ministers office in Lithuania, Andreas Lindeman. And yes, a round of applause will follow as well. So thank you both for being here. I know that it's a big day for both of you, in a sense that for one of you, it's sort of the end, right? And another one is just beginning. And I was thinking, how shall I kick this off? How shall I start this conversation? There was this symbolic figure 8, because Helen has spent 8 years here. And Ole, roughly speaking, has spent 8 days in Lithuania. And I thought that it would be fair that we ask Helen to name 8 points about Lithuania, something that you will greatly miss, or something that you will not miss at all. And the proportion is your choice. But, but if you could briefly give us a list of 8 things, I would be very grateful.
The list of what I will miss is a long one, and the other one is very short, so it will be easy for me. But of course, most of all, I will miss my colleagues, my friends here in Lithuania, my work, because I am a true believer in Nordic-Baltic cooperation, and maybe I always say it Baltic-Nordic cooperation. But also, I will miss Nida. I will miss all my favorite restaurants. My absolute favorite vegan restaurant where I have been in the world is here in Vilnius.
What is it called, in case we haven't visited it?
As we don't have this kind of... I can promote, right?
Well, yeah. I think so, unless you have it...
Go to Rosehip.
Okay, Rosehip. Yeah.
But I will also miss all the spas, the nature, basketball, and congratulations for the victory of today. Way!
Thank you.
And the shorter list, I will maybe never ever miss the heating system set up here when someone else decide when it should be warm and cold in my apartment. That was a tricky one for me, at least. I will not miss maybe the traffic, especially the roundabouts. They are quite scary. Yeah, I think that's all.
So the heating system, which can be easily solved if you move to a newer apartment, and the traffic jams.
Yeah. So nothing.
The traffic.
I can just bike instead,
Okay,
right?
okay, fair enough. Thank you so much for those insights. Ule, you may already have done 8 things in Lithuania by now. What would they be? Welcome, by the way. We want to hear your voice. We haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And it's great to be here. I'm a little bit nervous. This is my first time meeting such an audience. Many new people. I look forward to getting to know you, all of you. And I'm really then thankful for Helen, who has learned me some of the ropes, but not all the ropes. And then also, of course, I look forward to starting really to get to know things. I've done 1 or 2 things. I have 1 or 2 reflections that I may share with you, Živilė, and there will be more to come. Let me start with the basket then. Coming from Norway, I was under the impression that Lithuania was a country of skiers. We always watch you at cross-country skiing and biathlon, but I understand that it's basketball, which is the thing.
Yeah, because we used to have snow in our winters. Now it's like 50-50, so we're not really skiers.
We come straight from a panel on climate, so maybe that was where it disappeared. And then another impression and a challenge, and I'll go for it right away, and then help me afterwards. I will say that I need to be able to communicate in Lithuanian the name of the office of which I am part. So here it goes. Šiaurės ministrų tarybos biuras Lietuvoje.
Wow! Well done, you did it right at the start.
I can assure you it took a lot of courage. and I will continue. So what else have I done? Well, I have an apartment. It's an old apartment. It's right over here. For the time being, the heating is all right. And then we will see. I love the place. It's in Šviežių, and it's really great. There I have tourists passing every day, taking photos. The Japanese, they come very early in the morning, I've noticed. And I've made the reflection that actually, when I look at all the tourists you have in Vilnius, and how authentic and original you have been able to maintain Vilnius, I think that is a great feat. And this is not the case everywhere in Norway, I can assure you. So really one big point to you all for that. What more have I done? I've bought a bike.
Well done.
Because, it's a good way to get to see the city and around. And I am really, I wouldn't say surprised, but I must say I am impressed with how the facilities for biking around here it is. I can go everywhere, and I have also got miserably lost on many occasions. But in that sense, I learned to know more about the city, and then I hope, with your help, I shall not professionally be equally lost as I start my work. I've also noticed by our office there's the Portal Cities thing. Do you know it? Portal City, where we can stand outside town hall and we can wave at people somewhere else in the world, wherever in the world they are, than America or Spain or whatever. And to me, this tells me something about how Lithuania has chosen, with independence, not only independence for itself, but really to make sure that you are part of the world community. And everyone here is then a world citizen in a sense. That, I think, tells us something also about what we Nordic, Baltics can do together here. And finally, impression, which is very important, I have a super staff of people at the office that can help me.
Are they here? Shall we ask them to wave?
Could you raise your hands?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
And we have, as you will also see, a very broad portfolio of sectors we work in, things we do, and with these fantastic colleagues, we will continue in the spirit of Helen, but also in the spirit of Nordic-Baltic cooperation.
Thank you so much for these deep insights. I just want to really make this comment about the cycling paths. I'm really glad that you find them so well developed, because the Lithuanian cyclists would say there are some bike lanes that just like lead you to nowhere. They just end at some point. So you will experience that too.
I've been there too. Actually, it's the Oslo Gatve, and I think it's ironic that it's from my city where it all stops.
Yeah. So yeah, but we are improving. The other comment that I wanted to make was that artist project. Once I took my daughter, and I thought that it would be nice to show her, some other people from some other city, and someone else started showing bad signs, and she was really small, and I thought it's a nice project, but in this case it didn't work. I'm not going to show them, but it's just a small comment. I really want to dive into what your background is, because I think the next question that comes to people's minds is where does he come from? What was he doing before? So obviously you have all met Helen, but Helen, maybe let's start with you. I think that the first time you got to Lithuania was in the 90s, right? And then what was it? Did you work on regional democracy project between Sweden and Lithuania, and then you stayed, or was it a separate coming to Lithuania?
No, it's true. I was working for the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sweden, and we had a lot of projects going on with south part of Sweden and Lithuania. And one was very much focusing on 5 twin cities. It was here in Lithuania. It was Panevėžys, Vilnius, Šiaurės, Kaunas, Klaipėda. And then the ones in Sweden. And we did a lot of cooperation in the field of politicians meeting each other. But we work, of course, for those who know me, also on youth parliament. But I was not living here. I worked for a Swedish organization under the MFA of Sweden. But then I came back. Still didn't live here, but worked for the Swedish International Development Agency of Sweden. And now it's around 2000. And I was the desk officer for Lithuania. So we had, I think in total, because then we were also have started to phase out the aid and the aid projects. But if I just, because we were having a lot of evaluations on how we have worked with Lithuania and Sweden, so I think the list of projects from the early 90s to when you became a member of the EU, 2004, were about 1,000. And in, I could say, all different sectors, big, with the World Bank and so on and so forth. So, yes, when I came back, got this position as the director of the Nordic Council of Ministers, it was to come back and come home and to see what's had happened in 15 years. So, yeah, so that was also why I chose to come to Lithuania again.
And could you remind us, those 8 years you spent there here in Lithuania uninterrupted?
No, full. Yeah, okay. I was stranded actually in Sweden once when the pandemic started, so some month there. But otherwise, I have lived here full time, the whole 8 years.
I will want to ask you what has changed in Lithuania in those 8 years to your view, but let's now ask Ule. We want to get to know you. I know that you worked as a diplomat who has worked in places like Afghanistan, Mali. You have worked in Ukraine, Russia as well. What was the most memorable location, maybe the most memorable experience work-wise that you would single out?
Well, I think Kiev, obviously, Ukraine. It was my first posting as a diplomat, and they're always very formative and very memorable. So that is something that I carry with me in my heart, and these days also, of course, it's more present than ever for obvious reasons. And then I've done many other things. Yes, I've been a Russia hand for many years, but I think that if we look back when I started in the mid-90s, actually I came from the Norwegian Navy, from defense. And I joined diplomacy because we were in a situation where we, since 91, were in a new world order, right? And the whole thing was different. Now it was about how to preserve that new world order, how to reinforce it and make sure that we gave it a direction, and that we then nurtured our new neighbors, in a sense, new relations with neighbors and people diplomacy in the north and with Russia and all of this. So I went in with a view to really be a part of the opening up of this new world for us and all the opportunities in it for us. And then, now, when I arrive here, it's as if we have come full circle through my professional life back to where we came from when I started. And you know, you can continue reflecting a long time on this, but I think that we of course need to ask some questions about why we have ended up where we are, but we should also, and that more importantly, ask ourselves questions about what shall we then do in the time to come. And the next, for instance, 5 years, I think, will be extremely important. How do we meet the moment?
Yeah.
That's a big question. And I'm sure we're going to discuss this more during
Yeah,
the
because
talk.
I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned Ukraine and you did work as a diplomat in Ukraine. Russia's war in Ukraine has led us to strengthening our military powers, but also resistance of society. Would you say that, because Nordic countries are really a good example here, would you say that this will remain your priority?
It will certainly remain a priority. As people are saying, and we also had a panel previously here, the front line today is not there between states. As before, today it is everywhere. And it's certainly within countries. So societal security, resilience, all the projects that we have, and that Helen has developed through these 8 years with colleagues, they are more important than ever. We share values, we share democratic sentiments, we share a view towards political participation among youth. It's a topic in every Nordic country, actually. And we share many other things. And I would like to add, we are Nordic Baltic countries. With Greenland and Faroe Islands and Åland, we are almost 30 million people. So in numbers, we are many. And in the UN, for instance, we are 8 important votes. And we are a set of 8 countries that are regularly in the Security Council. This gives us also globally a very strong say. We must make sure that we use it. So we will work on all of these things where we do not have a mandate in defense and security.
Yeah.
But the rest, which is maybe as important, how we work with this inside, we are there and we are all over there.
Thank you. Helen, I promised that I would ask you this, and I really want to, because now I feel like we are moving to visions and ambitions and the next steps ahead already. But from your perspective, what has changed in Lithuania in those 8 years that you've been here, or maybe since the moment you first arrived to Lithuania in the 1990s?
A lot, but just allow me to reflect on when who thought I know your country and have been here very much before. I came to Klaipėda with Brigitta on an exhibition, and And I told Brigitte and my former colleagues that no worries, I will take care of myself. I will find my way because I know exactly where the town hall is and the Vytautas Magnus Gymnasium because I've been there hundreds of times. I couldn't find my way. It was a new city, so totally different developed. Maybe we would use as to explain it, but I definitely needed to look in the map, and although I have been on those streets, but with new brands, with new fresh buildings, and yeah, I would say we summarize this as nicely urban planning development. But if we talk about even longer, when we opened the office in 1991, here as the first diplomatic entity or agency from abroad. And then compare how we work together today. This is of course totally different. We maybe even used words like aid. We focus very much on culture, information, communication. Please choose the Nordics, learn from us. We will come here as experts, but now, I mean, we develop projects together. We have one big ear towards Lithuania and the priorities and to see what we will do with the stakeholders. But of course, we have also the mandate of ours that is given by the Nordic Council of Ministers, but where we meet, this is where we are doing. Then there are maybe some areas such as gender, LGBTQI, equality, where we always will maybe not always ask your approval, but we will be there anyway because it's so important to continue to work on values, democracy, and so on. And this is why we are here in Bhutan, right? And yes, there's a last one. I would maybe say that today we talk about digitalization, climate, energy, and so many more areas, and that was maybe not the case. We talk about the whole society and we cooperate. The Nordics learn from Lithuanians, the Lithuanian learns from the Nordics. That is how it should be. Yeah.
When you mentioned Bhutan, I thought that because today I heard some comments about how this park looks like Hyde Park and so on and so forth. Some people don't really know that this is the tradition that we sort of took from the Scandinavian countries, right? And the council was also a unit that contributed to the first ever Bhutan festival, right? Is there anyone who knew that already? Okay.
It's my colleagues.
Yeah, it's the social bubble we're in, but not everybody. But it is true, right?
It is true, but we were also there together with the British Council, Open Society, and some Scandinavian companies such as Swedbank and Telia. So yes, and we also organized study visit to the Norwegian and the Danish democracy festivals just to see how it could look like.
If you had to single out several points, several things that you were mostly proud of when we speak about your time in Lithuania, your achievements as a director of the council bureau, what would you choose?
I have a long list in front of me. No, but I think internally...
Try not to read, try to think from your heart.
You know, I think I know them by heart. But internally, I would say that we dared and we got the mandate to focus on children and youth and to focus on vulnerable groups, to leave no one behind. And if I may say, we are absolutely the best Nordic institution when it comes to how to integrate and how to do that when it comes to children and youth. But I also would like to mention the importance to work with Estonia and Latvia and our offices there. And we have developed throughout the years many projects in many fields. including social welfare. I see Laura here from the Ministry of Social Security and Labor, so I can't not mention integration of migrants, including refugees. But also, for us, the cooperation directly between Lithuanians, maybe sometimes with the office as facilitator when it comes directly to the Nordic institutions. Nordforsk, when it comes to research, it has increased from zero to fantastic cooperation. Cultural houses in Reykjavik or in Torshavn and so on and so forth. But that is, I think, extremely. But having said that, trustful cooperation with the Lithuanians partners is, of course, the most important, that we build trust and that they trust us. But if I should highlight just few projects and initiatives, it would be that just after the full-scale innovation in Ukraine, we were allowed to include Ukraine in all our activities. That was very, very important, and I am very, very proud of that. I'm also proud that we in the office have been able to continue to work on independent media in Belarus, although quite not easy, but we have found a way to do so, and I hope you will continue. And if I should just, I can't not mention Botent, that we went to Svalbard with the relevant institution here with Lina.
Which is in Sweden, right?
Oh, it's in Norway.
In Norway? I'm so sorry.
But it's just an island up there. But to deliver to our seed vault, that any of our countries in the world are welcome to, so to say, have a B plan if something happened with your own storage. So we went there with a black bag with the first 4,000 seeds. That was quite amazing. Some journalists also, you know, communication. And last but not least, the first ever Nordic-Baltic Youth Summit was here in Vilnius and will continue in, that must be in Manvidas, will continue here in Finland this year. So
it does sound like a long list of achievements, right, Ole?
Oh yes, indeed, scaring. And I will continue the independent media, absolutely, rest assured.
I would ask you what you thought changed in Lithuania, but then because you haven't lived here, I know that you not only presented these 8 points in the beginning, what you have already managed to do, but you have also been analyzing to know Lithuania better, which I find really impressive. And for example, you have analyzed a study on what people in the Baltic states dream. Would you share some of the findings and how do you think they will help you in your current position?
Yeah, gladly so, because I found that extremely interesting, actually. I don't know if you all are aware, but Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, they made a survey in spring 2024, so it's not a long time ago, about what people dream of in the 3 Baltic states. And first of all, people dream differently in the 3 Baltic states. Now, I'm not talking about what you dream about during night, but really your visions, your ambitions, what you work for, where you see yourself in some years. Huh? And as to the one on Lithuania, it's interesting also to compare with the happiness index and what age groups that are sort of most happy in Lithuania, and also to ask why is there a generational gap there. If we start with the dream study, the first thing is that Lithuanians have dreams. They do dream. The other is that women dream more than men, meaning have more ambitions, apparently, right? Want to go somewhere. Also that young people dream more than the elderly generation. So already there is something. And then what exactly they are dreaming about, you would maybe think in terms of peace and security, war and threat. But no, at this time at least, on top was traveling. The people of Lithuania want to travel abroad. They want to travel to the other Nordic countries, for instance. Also, like any other in Nordic countries, because I think this is very similar actually to what we dream about. Good jobs, good education, a good career also for many, and then also sort of a good, safe lifestyle. So these very sort of ordinary but important things, but also it tells me that these are things that we, as we develop as societies, Nordic and Baltic societies over time, we start taking for granted. And now we are at a crucial moment where we should ask ourselves, what does it take to make sure that we can remain with our dreams, have them realized, and that we, again, if you look at the happiness index and so on, remain happy at the level that we are. And it's interesting then that people up to 30 here in Lithuania are rated as the most happy. And then, if I may, I came across one interesting article with reference to the famous book by Cormac McCarthy saying, Lithuania, no country for old men. Right? Up to 30, you're happy, you're on top of the happiness index, but then the curve goes down. And since we also had a discussion here about division in society, so the breaking points where forces that want to break up society, break up cohesion, break up the sense of trust, they go in exactly there. The feeling of exclusion, the feeling of differences, the feeling of different economic levels and so on. So the importance of economic redistribution and redistribution equally of opportunities is extremely important. And I have noticed that this is also on top of service here in Lithuania.
What does that tell you, though? Because I was thinking, if we're that close to the Scandinavian countries, you know, within so many parameters, maybe there won't be a lot of work to do for you here. You know, we are very well developed. We do not have to use notions like aid, as Helen said, but it's more about cooperation. How will that translate into your work? Is my question.
Yeah, but your question would presume that also Nordic countries were sort of developed to the point where everything was hunky-dory, and and of course we are not. And as a Nordic person, a Norwegian person, I can assure you there are differences between the Nordic countries in many ways, and of course there is a lot to do in Norway. And allow me to speak about my own country now, and not about the whole Nordic family of countries, because I haven't been in the position long enough. I hardly started. But in my country, we have national elections in a small week, actually, 8th of September. And it's interesting to see what are the key issues that people vote for. And on the previous panel here, there was also the assumption that all we think about in the Nordic countries, including Norway, is about climate and biodiversity, and we are oh so green. But we are not. If you look at what's on top of the agenda, it is actually economic redistribution. And then very quickly you get to the prices of energy, prices of food, and also the tax debate, taxes, and then you have peace and security, and then on some sixth place or something you have climate and nature, environment, biodiversity. Very exactly, actually, the same as here, more or less. So we are quite equal, but we have the same challenges too, I would say. But we can deal with them much better if we do it together.
This is a very good point, at which I think I will see if there are any hands coming up to ask questions. We have been talking for half an hour, but I can see that because people have drinks, they're having tiny conversations, and if you want to expand these conversations into the area of stage, do raise your hand and ask something. Ule or Helen, who are with us. For Ule, this is just the beginning. For Helen, sadly, she's approaching towards the end of her journey in Lithuania and in her office. So this is a great opportunity to communicate with them. I can see one hand up. I'm not sure we've got a microphone. I think we do. The gentleman over there.
Yeah, thank you. Very good insight on happiness and on age gap. Yeah, but for me, working with regional policy, there's also another trend. Existing is distribution of elderly population unevenly. Yes, cities are getting younger. Yeah, rural areas are getting older. Maybe there's also some links in this aspect. And do you see that similar trends in Norway, for example, North and Oslo and things like that?
Thank you. Would you comment?
Well, I will quickly comment because we are joining an interesting conference on this subject very soon, 4th of September. And of course, we have the same challenges in Norway. The districts, all the young people, in particular the women, are moving out, seeking education and leaving the men behind. And the male population gets older, and these communities feel further and further away from the political and economic center of the country. So this is a great challenge. And if you look at Norway, Sweden and Denmark, we have the same challenges, but we have chosen to deal with them in different ways. All of us, also Finland, by the way.
And did you want to comment?
I think it's extremely important. We haven't mentioned it, but definitely something that we also work on together with our colleagues at the Nordic Welfare Center and also colleagues in Latvia and Estonia. And as Ole said, some events to come, but this is highly on the agenda in all 8 or I mean Greenland has extremely difficulties in this regards and also the Faroe Island and Åland Island, but absolutely, and we have a lot of the statistics interlinked with this, and some of the municipalities today in Finland towards the border, it's really looks not good at all. And then of course when we see sorry to mention, but that we maybe don't have so many newcomers into our country, then that will also be difficulties in the end of the day to solve.
When we were talking about how perfectly or not perfectly things work in the Nordic countries, some of you, I think Ule has mentioned trust, and I thought that this is what we always or often think in Lithuania, that everything works in these countries because these are the countries where people trust institutions and so on and so forth, which is something we do not really have here just yet. So I was thinking maybe you could expand on the trust topic a little and say that, you know, this is your general feeling as well, Helen, for example, you who has spent 8 years here. Do you feel that there's not enough level of trust in Lithuanian society?
I don't want to sound like a besserwisser or anything, but it's different, definitely. And yes, the trust maybe is higher in the Nordics. But I think if we talk about trustful cooperation and with the aim to leave no one behind or to give your voice to those who need your voice as well, I do believe we definitely need to clearly work on societal security, including crisis preparedness and resilience, because I think trust will come into that, so to say, package. So that is maybe my advice, and that doesn't go only for Lithuania. It goes for all our countries.
Ole.
Yeah, for a long time in Norway we've been saying that trust is our greatest asset as a society, and also our first line of defense from attacks from abroad. But I will also add that trust is not a constant situation. It has to be worked on, it has to be developed, it has to be nourished, it has to be protected every day. Yes, it's about trust in our institutions, but I would also like to say that one institution, the sort of biggest of them all, maybe most important of them all, is the institution of democracy, as you know it. Trust in the electoral processes, trust in how then society takes care and government takes care of the minority population. The role of democracy is much more than the electoral process. It's also about how though the majority population take care of the minority population, and how you actually do redistribute wealth, and how you do work for inclusion and avoid exclusion, all of these things. And if that stops, then the level of trust and people's trust in institutions will quickly fall. And it takes a long time to regain that trust.
And having said that,
Can I just say one thing on trust?
Obviously,
Very, very, very short. I think, I mean, we call it actually the Nordic gold, right? But we talk about social trust. And that is to trust someone you don't know. And I think that is a little bit maybe also the difference between our countries sometimes. Because it's built on that you trust your institutions, but it's very important to be able to trust a person, someone, you, that I only met a few days ago. We trust each other, and so on and so forth.
Helen, we met several Bhutans ago.
I know.
But I get your point, and in this context I want to ask you, would you trust us enough to tell us what are your next steps in life after you leave Vilnius?
Yes. You never know what will come around the corner, but if you will follow me on LinkedIn or try to see what I'm doing, I do believe that my vision right now is to retire, but to be very active. And the vision is to be the best volunteer in Stockholm ever. In the field of...
How is that measured?
I don't know. But for those who know me, it will be very much interlinked with youth, children, and the ones that are maybe most vulnerable, for the aim to leave no one behind.
So you will be volunteering?
Yes. Looking forward to. No.
And Ole, I think from you we will want probably a list of the next steps, or a vision or an ambition, a plan, what you're going to do here. I mean, not in a sense globally and politically speaking too, but also maybe, you know, people have ideas here, and after we have spoken they can approach you and you want to meet more and more people, you want to meet most of them. What are your next steps, and what is your vision in this position? What should we know in advance?
Yeah, first, just to land in my new job, new responsibilities. But then I want to broadcast, so to say, that next year we have the 35th anniversary of Nordic Baltic cooperation. That is a big thing. For the time being, we have only decided on the date because the date is given, the 23rd of March. So make a note of that, 23rd of March. And there will be events. But the main point is not the event or whether it's then led by prime ministers and where it is and so on. It is about what we are able to build on and then do further as awareness building of what we are actually achieving with this important Nordic-Baltic cooperation. And I think that if we speak about vision and what I would like to fill into the 35-year anniversary, are the visions already stated by the Nordic Council of Ministers at the outset, mostly for the Nordic countries, but now we realize that really to succeed we also need to include the Baltic states in this, and those are embedded in the Vision 2030 by the Nordic Council of Ministers: a greener Nordic-Baltic region, a more competitive region, and also a more socially sustainable region. And actually the whole goal is to become the best integrated and best socially sustainable region in the world. And I can think of no other region than the Nordic-Baltic region to achieve that goal. We are in the forefront. No one else has the same position in terms of reaching these goals as we do combined. And my vision is that as we round 2030, we realize that we're not really speaking about two regions, the Nordic and the Baltic, but we are speaking about one region. Then integration will have come to the point where I really would love to see it. And then one last word, if I may. I think it is extremely important to realize that the next 5 years will be not only dynamic, but very sort of decisive as to where we go from here. And it will be interesting, I think, to try to know or foresee what historians will say about us in 2050 and how we were then from 2025 able to seize the moment to take the responsibility, take charge, and give ourselves and this bigger region a direction.
Is this doable, do you think, Helen?
Everything is doable. But also remember, we have a strategy within the Nordic Council of Ministers that we should also be the best place for children and youth in the world. But if I would, what I would like to see more, maybe is
in the next 35 years.
I don't know. Could be tomorrow, on Monday, I meant. I mean, I think we can agree that the Nordics are more well known here in the Lithuania or in the Baltics than the other way around. And I think here we have a really important things to do, and I do believe that the office can play a role in this. But I also do believe that then also Lithuania needs to want that.
To be promoted by the Nordic countries, is that what you're saying?
No, but maybe the Baltics would like to be more well known in the Nordics.
Well, of course they would, I think.
Yeah, but then we need to find tools and resources for that. And I don't say that we should do everything, but we maybe should do it together with the relevant stakeholders here in Lithuania, maybe with additional resources. Depends on here. I think it's really would be a very interesting discussion and to see where Lithuania stands on this. But I do believe that we need to make the Baltics more well known in the Nordics.
Does anyone agree? See, everybody, thank you. I think I've got one final question, and maybe I will see if there's anyone in the audience who wants to ask a question still. To Helen, first of all, what would your wish be for the next 35 years. I mean, you basically kind of answered that. 35, because we are about to celebrate the 35th anniversary. But was it March 23rd? You said in March. Next 35 years? What if Ole came up to you and said, so tell me, what is one line of, thought that I should take up on? What is one wish that you want to...
Okay, we have very many Nordic cooperation. Let's do all the ones, Nordic-Baltic cooperation in all different fields and with the same kind of strength. I am not going to say that, it will be the Nordic-Baltic Ministry, blah, 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 Council. No, I think that is not what is needed. It's more to create resilience together and to really emphasize the cooperation in different fields and learn from each other, but that we should have the same status. So I have to say Swedish, Norwegian and all the others need to learn more about you. I know it's not a great answer, but we need to work on that.
But do you think it's us who have to work on that more than you? Obviously, right?
Yeah. But we do it together, right?
Right. Is there anyone who wants to ask something? Or maybe make a wish? If you could introduce yourself if you want to. That would be lovely.
Hello, so I'm Jovita from Artscape, and we've been collaborating so very nicely with Helen for many years. And I want to congratulate Ole joining us. And Helen said very beautiful thought that it's very important for integration is social contract and social trust. And integration is a very big topic right now in Lithuania because for the past 5 years, increasing immigrants into Lithuania is increasing more and more. And with aging society in Lithuania, it's going to be even more numbers in the coming years, as well with the global immigrants due to the climate change. So in order for us to integrate properly all the newcomers, what the measures should be taken? Because I believe, and I believe you agree, that integration is the key, because for the war, the front changed from the physical line to the social cultural places, to the social media places, in the digital places as well. So in order for us to be strong as one unit, a Nordic Council and the Baltic Council together, what the measures should be taken that integration would be done well between our regions and in general with the newcomers? Thank you.
Thank you. Ole, will you take that?
Yeah, of course. It's a big question. It's a very important one. But I think that we need to realize that the Vision 2030 is more than just words and a vision. When it states greener, more competitive, more socially sustainable, under each of them, there are very specific actions to take. And these are the actions that the Nordic countries are working continuously on. And there is then a view to including the Baltic states more and more. But that is based on whether you want to go there, of course. But we do not see that our region, this region, our mutual region can really continue developing and keeping the position we have without becoming greener. And I say that also from a country which is petroleum producing, right? We have realized this for a long, long time. Our industry needs to change production, and we need to develop the new technologies. We need to use them and build business on that. We need to heighten our level of productivity, economic productivity, and also the level of education has to remain very high, and we need to educate people into what is needed in society. And then, as we spoke about other social inclusion, social security issues, societal security, all of these sustainability issues on the social side, there are, health, social, children, youth, all of these soft things that are so important. sometimes I ask whether, you know, it's a misnomer to call hard security because, and then soft, because the hardest, I think, are the soft security items, the most important. But all the instruments are there. It's for us to actually work on them.
I will maybe answer more on migrants. I would say that access to the labor market is extremely important. And here, when it comes to integration of migrants and refugees, we can learn so much from each other. And I know you have done so much here in Lithuania. But also, I think it's extremely important to work with municipalities and then also to facilitate the cooperation between municipalities and NGOs, because we all need a support mechanism to feel welcomed and also not to fear and to be scared about something new. So I would definitely just advise you to continue to work on what you're already doing, and culture, of course, and art is extremely important in this regard.
As interesting as it is to listen to you, and as much as we would want to ask you millions of more questions, but I kind of feel like we've reached the limit where we want to approach you personally, have a little reception, have some friendly conversations, and maybe Ole, you can now tell us how open you are to the, you know, establishing new connections. What is the best way to approach you for people? Shall they write you emails with all their projects listed in them, or do you prefer a call? What is it like? How do you like to network with people?
Yeah, I would prefer having a WhatsApp, a two-liner, and then the bigger proposals and things, they go to my colleagues and we will discuss them. But approach me on the easiest way possible. But also follow us on LinkedIn and on our web page. Look at what we are doing, come with ideas. The whole thing is that this is sort of a people-to-people diplomatic effort where we meet and we exchange and we see where the needs are and where the opportunities are and what we can deliver and how we can deliver. And then you push us, but we are certainly going to push you as well.
But before you're being pushed, we will all have a nice little conversation and then maybe a drink here. And I think at this point, we will do two separate rounds of applause, of thank yous. First of all, to Ole, who has joined us, and we are very happy to welcome you here. And thank you so much for letting us get to know you better in this event. I think we've learned certain things about you. We saw how you think, and we really are really enthusiastic about meeting you. So thank you so very much for joining us here in this conversation.
And thank you, Živilė, for moderating excellently. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think this is now where we will deliver another big round of applause to Helen, who's about to leave. Helen, are you sad about leaving, or are you like enthusiastic about volunteering more?
Both, because I will do something totally different. But I am also extremely proud of what we have achieved. So I'm sad, as we said in the beginning, to miss all of you and to not work Nordic Baltic. That will be very painful for me. But on the other hand, you know, it's time to move on. And here you have the flag.
Yay! An official flag handling ceremony. So this was an applause to the flag handing ceremony, but now we will deliver another applause of thank you to Helen, who has served 8 years here. Thank you for spending all this time for us. Thank you, everybody. I think this is not the end. I think there will be pizza or something. Yeah, a picnic. So do stay on. Do talk with one another. What was it? Yeah, the after work, after discussion, after boot and feeling, we will stay here for a bit, so do not run away and enjoy the rest of the festival. Thank you so much for coming here.